Okay. Yeah, I couldn't get that item open for some reason. Okay. This is the regular meeting of the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force Compliance and Amendments Committee, called to order at 4:03 on Tuesday, June 17th, 2014. Okay. Mr. Young, would you call the roll, please?
On the call of the roll, Member Nee?
Present.
Nee present. Member Fisher?
Present.
Fisher present. Chair Washburn?
Present.
Washburn present. We have a quorum.
I don't have any agenda changes. Does...
There are no agenda changes that I know of.
Okay. Mr. Young, would you call the next item on the agenda?
Item number 2, adoption of the May 20th, 2014 Compliance and Amendments Committee meeting minutes.
Member Nee?
Move to approve.
Second.
I've reviewed the minutes and have several very small edits that I'll hand to you right now.
Yes, thank you.
And I've circled them, so.
Yes, I will make those amendments.
Okay.
Is there any public comment on the meeting minutes?
Thank you, Mr. Young. My recollection of the minutes is that when members of the public spoke, the minutes are incomplete. So I would object to the minutes being passed, since the public comment is not indicated in your minutes. The complaint by anonymous, you'll see I spoke and somebody else spoke. And it states in your minutes that I stated blank. Does it not?
I don't have the copy here right at the moment.
Well, perhaps Mr. Clerk can give you a copy, and then you can see what you're approving. But the minutes are incomplete. Mr. Clerk can correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. Perklo is correct. I did start the statement, but I did not complete it in the meeting minutes. I will make that adjustment, go back to the tapes and make that adjustment.
Okay, I missed that one. I did review the minutes, and I just handed it to him, and I didn't see that. So thanks for bringing that to our attention.
All right, thank you.
Do I undo my second? Or?
Well, you can substitute to offer a substitute motion to continue.
I'd like to offer a substitute motion to continue.
Second.
Okay. Ping pong match over here.
Are there any is there any comments on the substitute motion to continue the minutes to the next meeting? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Young, would you call the roll, please?
On the motion to continue the meeting minutes of May 20th to the next meeting of the Compliance and Amendments Committee, Member Nee?
Aye.
Nee, aye. Member Fisher?
Aye.
Fisher, aye. Chair Washburn?
Aye.
The motion passes. The minutes will be continued. Item number 3, file number 13002, hearing on the status of the order of determination, complaint filed by Anonymous against Cheryl Cohen, Teresa Sparks, Lupe Arello, Mullane Ahern, Human Rights Commission, for violating Sunshine Ordinance Section 67.25A, failure to respond to immediate disclosure requests for public records in a timely manner.
All right. This matter has been continued from the previous meeting, where both the complainant was here by phone and the respondent was here in person. And the complainant had received some electronic records, as I recall, but had not had time to review them for completeness. So we'll have a regular hearing with the times that are normally allotted. So the complainant, Anonymous, you have 5 minutes to update us on what's happened.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I want to state that at the April 30th meeting regarding this complaint, one of the things I did ask towards the very end was a complete file, everything in my file, and another hard copy. And Ms. Ahern said that she would do so. And I picked up the forms so that there wouldn't be any communications or if anything would get lost. And what I picked up were documents that were obfuscated beyond any comprehensible person would not be able to discern what they were if they were not familiar with the case at all. I would like to show you example one, Mr. Young, if you could. Example one is, it's part of a sunshine order of determination, and on the back of it is something else. Example number two is part of a court document, and on the back of it is something else that belongs to a 3-page letter. Example number three is somebody else's file. Example number 4 is page 1 of 4 pages of my ledger from the property owner. And on the back of it, it's something else. So I did not get the documents complete as I had asked for. And another thing I would like to bring to your attention is on page 9 of Rules and Procedures for Complaints of Discrimination filed under the provisions of San Francisco Administrative Code chapters 12A, B, C, and H, and San Francisco Police Code articles 33 and 38 that is on the website for the San Francisco Human Rights Commission. It states, number 9, that's the last packet, that's example 5. It states that the investigations last at least 120 days. And it says B is what I'm most concerned with because I think it goes to the crux of the matter for my complaint. It says, staff shall create a written investigation plan specifying the names of any witnesses to be interviewed, documents to request, and or sites to be visited. Staff shall send the investigation plan to the parties with a request for suggestions and other witnesses and documents to be examined. Now, this is put online by Ms. Ahern, right here. This is what I was reading from. This is put online by her. It's on their website. I never got this plan. This is one of the things that I was asking about to determine what had been done with my case. It's not there. And I think that it is unbelievable that I should have to go through this so many times, which is why I picked up the documents personally. And they're obfuscated in the blue notebook. I mean, my goodness, I have someone else's information. And why is there no written documentation that tells what they did with this is what they put on their website. I never received it. It's not in the paperwork. And I do not believe that I have everything that pertains to the file. I was able to ascertain the name of the city attorney on my own. They voluntarily told me, the city attorney's office voluntarily told me that. Well, that's obviously written somewhere. How would they even know that? So these are just a few of the things that I'm asking about just pertaining to my file because they had the case for 11 months, and I just want to see what did they do with my case, and I have not been able to see documents that will tell me that because the documents I see are the documents that I gave them. So that's what I have for you today, and as I said, I picked the documents up on my own so there would be no confusion as opposed to what happened with them.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to offer facts and evidence in support of the complainant? Okay, seeing none, the respondent, you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. I don't believe I'll need all 5 minutes. The complainant
Could you introduce yourself?
Melaine Ahern on behalf of the San Francisco Human Rights Commission once again to present that the HRC has indeed provided the complainant with all of the documentation responsive to her requests. She has in her possession electronic and hard copies of all of the documentations in her complete file. And there is no further documentation that we can provide, nor will any of these documents be altered at any time in the future. And all of those documents were in good condition. And I cannot confirm or deny that what you've been presented with was indeed what came from the HRC. However, the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force was copied on all of our communications and has all of the documentation for the case file.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to offer facts and evidence in support of the respondent? Okay, seeing none. Members, do you have questions? Member Nee?
Yes, anonymous, please. At our last meeting, we continued in order that we give you the opportunity to look at a compact disc, CD, containing electronic information. Have you had a chance to look at that CD? And if so, what can you tell us about it? What does the CD contain? All the information that should be there, or is there information that is not on the CD that should be there?
I have not had the opportunity to look at, because I don't have my computer. That was one of the things that was confiscated in the eviction. So I only have access maybe 15 minutes or so, or if I have to go to a neighbor's house and use a computer of some sort. And again, I went to pick up these documents, and I do have the documents with me. And all I've ever wanted was to just see what they did with the case. And prior to anything being filed, that, you know, they never said, well, if you have a question, you can come in and speak with us. We can show you the file. One of the things that happened was Ms. Areola, the investigator of the case, she would always give these deadlines that the case is going to wrap July 10th, and when that approached, it was pushed back to August 20th. And so I'm curious, when she would tell me the case would have a decision and it didn't, well, what has transpired that make these dates continue to change? And then ultimately, I was very surprised, given they had my case for 11 months, and for them to close it because the city attorney said so. So I didn't see anything that they did. And that's what I was trying to ascertain. And in their own words, they would create a file and a list in terms of what they do with the case, and that's not there.
But for all you know, it could be on the CD.
Well, I don't have a CD. I don't have a CD from them.
I thought you said you did.
No, I don't have a CD from them.
Did you ask for one?
I did not ask for one, and they didn't voluntarily give me one.
Maybe I'm going a little bit awry here. My understanding, and somebody will please correct me if I'm incorrect, was that you had received the CD and that you had not had a chance to look at it to see if there was additional information on there that you should have, and that's the reason we continue this case to this meeting.
I apologize. Maybe I didn't understand the question, but no, they have never given me a CD of my file. Okay,
thank you.
I have some questions for Ms. Ahern. I agree with Member Nee. My recollection, and I stated it when I introduced this matter earlier, was that we continued this case from last month because it was our understanding that you had provided the complainant with the paper records, but that you had also given her a disk with all the records on it electronically. Is that the case?
Those records were sent electronically via email.
Email.
And the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force was copied on that correspondence as well.
Okay, all right.
So I don't know that we have CDs in the office, but the bottom line is, that information was transmitted several times to the complainant as well as to the task force, and it's the same as the information that was provided in a hard copy.
Okay, I have some questions then about the hard copy. The complainant, and she said this the last time, as I recall, she said that the records were in disarray, that it was really difficult to construct, in looking at them, what exactly had happened, that, as a matter of fact, there was information from another case on the back of one of the sheets. And so what she's given us, it's pretty much a mess. I don't know if these are just some random samples and the whole batch of the paper records look like this. I don't know.
Well, I've never seen the document that you're holding, and as I stated, I can't confirm or deny that came from the HRC or whether the complainant may have put that together herself. However, the documentation was also clearly labeled in the electronic files, as we often provide. Our case files are separated with tabs. We don't have fancy supplies. We just kind of use tabs and mark off where the complainant's documentation is, where the respondent's documentation is, and other correspondence in the file. Ultimately, the complainant has all of the information that we can possibly provide for this matter, and there's nothing else that we can create. As I stated in our last hearing, it's my understanding that the Sunshine Ordinance requires the production of documents, but not the creation of documents. So we have produced all of the documents relative to the file.
Now, the complainant did mention one one document that she had expected to find, given what's posted on your website, and it's sort of a description of your procedures, and there's an investigation plan, and she showed us the wording for that. And I imagine this is something Ms. Areola put together, who was the investigator for the HRC. What can you tell me about that document?
Well, I believe there is an investigative plan included in the case file. I would have to double check the case file, but if there was no investigative plan created, then that's something internally that we would deal with, as an employee-employer issue. That's not something that I believe would be appropriate for outside entities, such as the task force that's created to look at the production of documents and whether or not an agency has complied. If there was an investigative plan, it was absolutely included. If there was no investigative plan, that's why it's not there. But I believe there was an investigative plan with some witness questions drafted and some other information included as well.
Well, one thing that you're right in that we do not ask, would not ask the HRC or any other body to create records that didn't exist. But there's a section of the ordinance, 67.29-7, the heading is Correspondence and Records Shall Be Maintained. And it specifically speaks to the matter of maintaining records for your department, your agency, your commission in a business-like manner. And we found other groups in violation of this for not having records that any reasonable person or their own guidelines suggested should be there. So I just wanted to let you know about that.
Was in the records that we provided to you, did you notice something that was not kept in an orderly, business-like fashion?
I haven't looked at them recently, so I don't know. And I guess I don't know what this investigative plan would look like.
It would be labeled investigative plan.
Investigative plan. Okay, I have a question then for the complainant. So you've had a chance to look through all the paper records, and did you see anything labeled, clearly labeled investigation plan?
I did not, and I have not ever received anything called an investigative plan. And had there been one, it most likely would have been emailed, I would think, from Ms. Areola, who was the investigator of the case. And in their own words, they said that I gave them names of witnesses. Actually, I gave them names of witnesses, and it says that they would send written plan. Staff shall send the investigative plan to the parties with a request for a suggestion. That never happened, and it's not in these documents. Nor would I take anything out of these documents. And these documents, I do not think, are in compliance with Sunshine. And if there had been an investigative plan, most likely I would have thought it would have come from Ms. Areola, because I was in touch with her, who was the person assigned the case, and I never saw one. And it's not in these documents that I picked up personally from San Francisco Human Rights Commission.
Okay, Ms. Ahern has indicated that she has something that might possibly be what we're looking for. Is this something you could put up on the overhead for us?
Sure. Yeah, it's page 77, and it's the document with the case name, and it's labeled investigative plan.
So is there more to this? What are some of the headings? You can just tell me.
Oh, okay. So on page 77, it starts with complainant's allegations. It goes through the elements of a legal discrimination complaint, which include disparate treatment, failure to accommodate, retaliation. Then the next section is respondent's position statement. Those are the defenses raised by the respondent in the matter, in this case, a housing provider. Subheadings are policies and procedures, documents and submissions, and so forth. So that's the investigative plan. Ultimately, I think this, with all due respect, I think this may be distracting from the fact that we did indeed provide this documentation to the complainant each and every time we were asked. The HRC has made every effort to be present at all of these meetings. In fact, I as I mentioned in my communications earlier, I have a doctor's appointment today that I scheduled over 6 months ago, so I can't stay for a terribly long time, but it's the position of the Human Rights Commission that we have complied to the extent possible. I understand that we are here to discuss, whether in response to the failure to comply with the immediate disclosure request, we did once again provide the documentation that had already been provided, just not in the immediate fashion required by the ordinance. And so I hope that you'll agree that, at this stage, there's nothing left that we can provide. There are no additional documentations responsive to the request, and we've provided these documents every which way we've been asked. So I don't know what more I can tell you. The facts in the documents are not going to change.
Okay, thank you. I have a question for the complainant. So you saw the documents that Ms. Ahern showed us a minute ago with the heading of the investigative plan. Did you receive a copy of that?
I do not have that in here. I do not have that. And I think that, in essence, I asked for all of the documents. Even though they want to say they've given me all of the documents, they have not. And you saw a few samples that came out of here. It's like they just threw them into a photocopy machine that was a blender, and so everything just got rearranged and mismatched. And I would think that after I was stipulating a chronology as to what happened from April 30th, that someone would have said, all right, we'll sit down and we'll show her what we did. And 90% of these documents are mine, the ones that I do have, and it's disheartening to be treated like this, to see, as I said, if Mr. Young had to put this together, not being familiar with the case, I know from just memory with the ledger, this is a 4-page thing. It says so, part 1 of 4. And on the back, it's a letter I wrote to Ms. Areola. So what can I do with documents like this? If they were not going to give them to me, they could have said so. Or they could have, I don't know, I'm not going to put words in their mouth because they're supposed to adhere to sunshine, but they have not given me all of the documents. I do not believe that I have all of these documents. And given how long it took them to even respond, because when I originally responded, it was like, we're working on your case, we're working on your case. And every time I come close to asking for my documents, we're working on it, I'm going to have a decision. And then when it's just incomplete. And I do think that I don't have all the documents that I requested. And the documents I do have are my documents.
Okay, I really hear, with all due respect, I hear your frustration, and we did indeed find them in violation of not responding to you in a timely way at all. That's just what happened. There's no doubt about it. But you received documents in paper form that seem to have been copied in a way that made the file confusing. But you did receive email copies of the documents, and at our last meeting, we asked you to find the time to look at those documents. Everything could be there and could be in much better order. And so that's where I am right now. But I want to give my colleagues here a chance to have anything else. Member Fisher?
I feel like Alice in Wonderland here. I don't know which. I feel like Alice in Wonderland. I'm just not sure which rabbit hole we've gone down. I defer to you guys.
I'll have some comments for the next stage of the proceeding.
Okay.
So at this time, Ms. Ahern, you have 3 minutes to offer any additional comments.
Well, I just want to reiterate, that HRC has produced all of the relevant documents. I also do want to note that some of the documents in the case file were scanned copies that were provided to us through the respondent's attorney. And those were Superior Court documents related to the case that was filed in Superior Court. So HRC was not the creator of those documents, so not all of those make... I see one page that was slightly crooked, but I still don't see anything that was kept poorly. And, I would just urge you to consider the fact that when we're getting scanned copies from another scanned copy, sometimes pages might not be scanned with 100% care. But HRC has made every effort to provide, time and again, all of the documentation to the complainant. I understand that we did not comply with the immediate disclosure request, and for that I'm very sorry, but we don't have any additional documents to provide. I don't know how we can further, rectify that failure to comply with the immediacy of the response. But we did indeed provide the documentation, and there is nothing that HRC has withheld or redacted or otherwise failed to provide. So, I hope that you understand that we, certainly, if there is something else that we can do, we would do it gladly. But at this time, HRC has provided absolutely everything that we can provide.
Okay, thank you. And the complainant now has 3 minutes to make some additional comments.
As I stated, it is my position they did not comply with Sunshine, and I do not have all of the documents. If they are going to email me something and obfuscate its meaning, how would I even know that the document would even be there? I mean, how, if you are emailed something, this is the back of a Sunshine determination, the front of this is a AUM, the utility company explaining how they bill. How am I going to find these documents if they don't make any sense? And they want to say, I gave them professional documents. Every time I met with Ms. Areola, there was either chronology. I don't even see that. I gave them documents with dates and so on and so forth. I do not even see that much there. She cannot really prove it. She hasn't proven it to me. And in their own plan, they said that they will write an investigative plan. Well, where in their plan did they say they would speak to the city attorney? That's part of what they say. I really do not think that I have all of the documents, and I certainly did not give them documents in this manner. And just from what I showed you, and even with this example here, then something's missing. If this is the back of a Sunshine Order determination, and well, then where's the rest of it? How could this be complete? How could this be complete if there are documents that look like this? There are some pages that have, I don't know what the numbers mean. They have 11, 4, 254. I don't know. But as I said, I picked up the documents myself, so there'd be no problem, so I thought. And this is what I was given. And if this is what they've scanned and emailed, then I absolutely do not have all of the documents. And if nothing else, why are these documents not presented in the manner which I gave them to them? I gave them because I've been an executive assistant in my work experience, and I gave them a chronology along with every exhibit that I referenced in the chronology. And if nothing else, even if they didn't give an investigative plan, I should have at least received the documents in the manner that I gave them, and we would not be having this discussion.
Thank you. Members, Member Nee.
Madam Chair, I share my colleagues' bemusement on this. There's an awful lot that we don't know. Particularly, I think the big missing piece of this is the email that was sent to the complainant that contained additional documentation. And the complainant has told us that she has not had a chance to look at that. And without all of the evidence before us to support either side, I would be reluctant to make any kind of a definitive determination here. So I'm going to move that this matter be continued to the call of the chair, and the chair can bring it back upon presentation of additional information by either the complainant or the respondent.
Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second that.
Okay.
I was like going like this, and
I was actually thinking the very same thing, that this is the way to handle this. That, barring any additional information, it's really difficult for us to do anything at all. So there are these emails that we have, but we're not the ones who know what's in the file or should be in the file. So it's really incumbent upon the complainant to review those emailed files and check to see what's missing, if anything, and let us know. And then at that point, I'm happy to meet again and we can go from there. But and nothing's really changed from last time, so we continued it for that reason. So it's really hard to do anything more than continue the case. And when I hear that there's been something new, then I'm happy to put the matter back on the agenda. But at this time, is there any public comment on this matter?
Can I just ask for clarification, just so I understand?
Can you come up to the mic, please?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understand. What is it that is unclear or that we're looking for? I mean, I understand the complainant's stated, for the past several hearings that she hasn't had a chance to review the files, and there's certainly nothing HRC can do about that. I'm just a little confused. Like, what is the benefit of continuing the matter? Once again, this is the 5th hearing we've had about this, and I'm just trying to understand what the use of resources is going to be to...
Well, I will not put this on the agenda until something has changed. So, it's incumbent upon the complainant to review the emails. And if she reviews them and it looks like everything looks complete, then fine. But if she reviews the emails and is able to say some things are missing and conveys that to me, then that would be a new development, and I would put the matter back on the agenda.
Would you require some evidence that there is, in fact, something missing? Because, she's maintained that there have been missing files, which, as you just saw with the example of the investigative plan, that's been in there for the past 18 months.
Well, when we have our hearings, we ask for evidence, so that would be what we would ask. So I want to move ahead with this and see if the members of the public have anything to say about it.
Okay, I have to go to a medical appointment, so
Okay.
thanks.
So at this time, public comment on this matter, on the motion before us, rather?
This is a dilemma that comes up over and over again, and it affects me also. If these documents were supplied all at once, then maybe a cover letter saying, this is what we're giving you, these are the amount of pages, these are the amount of emails, this was a CD that was made, kind of like an inventory of what it is that this person is they're getting, so there's no dispute as to did you get part of it or some of it. Here's what was given, so that would make it easy on both sides. But if they were given and kind of on a rolling basis, that's where it gets very confusing, because you are not really sure, did I get this? Does it pertain to this? It's not really clearly stated what it is attached to, and it gets very murky in that way. And in the future, maybe the human resources could do things in that way, and that way they would save themselves time also. There would be no dispute as to whether or not there was a CD, or whether things were missing, or were they picked up, or were they mailed. So just some kind of cover letter could be good.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Thank you. It's unfortunate that the minutes weren't accurate last month, because if they were, you would have seen in my public comment that I opposed the motion to continue this matter till today, based on the fact that complainant had the documents and didn't care to take the time to review them to see if there was compliance. So I'm going to oppose this motion to continue. I don't think you have any evidence that there hasn't been compliance by the Human Rights Commission. The Human Rights Commission not only sent the documents in their possession to the complainant, but they also sent them to you. And the fact that you didn't review them, you should not put that burden on the respondent. The evidence in front of you is that the respondent has complied, gave all the documents both to the complainant and the task force. The testimony by the complainant initially was she had the CD, but she didn't have a computer to review it. Then she said she didn't get the CD. It's been over 60 days, and she's telling you she still hasn't reviewed the documents that she says that are in compliance to your order of determination. Complainant has no credibility, and you should not continue this matter anymore. There are plenty of cases that can come before you where complainants have not received public records or not had the ability to speak during public comment. So this month, I will make the same public comment as I made last month. This case should be concluded, and the respondent has complied with your order of determination. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment on this motion? Seeing none, Mr. Young, would you call the roll, please?
On the motion to continue item number 3, file number 13002, to the call of the chair, Member Fisher?
I have to go first. Pass.
Member Nee?
Aye.
Nee, aye. Chair Washburn?
Aye.
Washburn, aye. Member Fisher?
Aye. I'll be collaborative.
Washburn, aye. The motion passes. This item will be continued to the call of the chair pending additional information to be provided to the committee.
Okay, I just want to know if the complainant, do you understand what we're asking you to do?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you all for coming. Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, you're quite welcome.
Item number 4, public comment. Members of the public may address the Compliance and Amendments Committee on matters that are within the Sunshine Ordinance Task Force jurisdiction, but not on today's agenda.
Hi there. I guess you pretty well know what I'm going to say. I'm driven nuts by the San Francisco Arts Commission. Even though I've been in front of you, I've gotten orders, I've passed through this committee, I've passed through other subcommittees, they still don't comply. They're still making the same mistakes. It really hasn't changed at all. I don't feel that those people have any regard for the law at all. If I make an IDR, I'm not even sure who is the custodian of records. I review the minutes of the previous meetings, and if I make an IDR, I make it to several persons over there. I don't get a response. I wait. I send follow-up emails, and nothing happens. Kate Patterson still sends these off-topic, generic, personal attacks for no reason whatsoever. I don't go over there. I don't call. They're always late in their responses. The bits of information I've gotten have been completely off-topic, not even near the IDR requests. I'm afraid to even bring this up, the issue of the minutes. That's always the problem. And in my view, I don't think there really is a record of 10 years of executive meeting minutes. Paula Jessen just concluded a petition that I made requesting, can you find out? Because someone went this route a year before and they got nothing either. There was the 14-day extension, and then there was nothing, and that just happened to me. So she didn't get much of an answer from them either. So, I look at executive committee meeting minutes as a serious issue because that's where budgets and HR and issues, commissions, grants, important matters come up for approval at that meeting. And if there are 10 years that have no record, then that's serious. And I'm not getting an answer whether there is a record or not. I'm just getting nothing. And I appreciate that you people come here, but I don't want to jam up your calendar with the same thing over and over again. These people just don't comply, and it's very frustrating.
Thank you. Is there additional public comment?
Thank you. Yesterday, I was at the Budget and Finance Committee, and there were 16 city departments discussing their budget. Members of the public were precluded from speaking, and it was told to us that public comment would be addressed Friday for 22 minutes, perhaps 2 minutes, to discuss 35 departments and $88.6 billion. If you recall, you had an order of determination last December on this specific issue. It's most unfortunate that that order of determination went to your education and outreach training, because that order of determination there was never enforced. So therefore, this year, we have the same issue with the Budget and Finance Committee regarding public comment. We're being precluded from speaking on the budget until this coming Friday, when it will be an all-day affair, and there'll be hundreds of individuals and stakeholders given maybe 90 seconds or 120 seconds to talk about 35 city departments and agencies. So what I would suggest, perhaps you could talk to your next chairperson of the task force and convince him or her, that you should bring that order of determination to the Compliance and Amendments Committee. And perhaps the issues would be then fully vetted and discussed with the Budget and Finance Committee so that they will comply. Yesterday, I filed a willful complaint against the 5 supervisors on the Budget and Finance Committee for clearly disobeying your order of determination last December. But it's also the fault of the task force for not getting the issue addressed and getting some understanding with the Budget and Finance Committee how public comment should be provided during the budget process. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any additional public comment? Okay, seeing none, Mr. Young, would you call the next item on the agenda?
Item number 5, Administrator's Report. There are no items pending before the Compliance Amendments Committee besides item number 3 that was continued to the call of the chair. Item number 6, announcements, comments, questions, and future agenda items.
Member Nee.
Yeah, something that was sent to my attention. California Common Cause, I guess, is partly behind this. There is an effort by a member of the Oakland City Council, a gentleman named Dan Kalb, to put a sunshine ordinance reform package of sorts, or ethics reform package, on that city's ballot. And they're looking for people and organizations, I guess, to contact the Oakland City Council. They need 5 votes, and I think it's coming up early July. They need 5 votes on the City Council to put this measure on the ballot. And, I would certainly encourage the people here to investigate this, look on the California Common Cause website, see what's up, and speak out as they see appropriately.
Thank you. Member Fisher, do you have any announcements, comments, questions?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say that this is this meeting, it marks the end of an era for the task force. This is Member Nee's last meeting with us, and I'm feeling kind of wistful, and I'm sure I'll feel bereft at our next meeting if I'm still on this committee. I have learned so much from you, and your presence will be sorely missed by members of the old members, new members, and so forth.
I want to thank you for your kind words, but I don't think you'll be bereft at all. The reason I'm stepping aside after all this time is that I think it's time to allow in some new energy and new ideas. And the gentleman who's been picked to replace me, Ollie Winston, is an award-winning freelance journalist. I've sat with him a number of times. We've talked about sunshine. We've talked about other things. And I think he's going to do right by the task force, and he'll do right by the city. You're also getting, for the first time in 2 years, a voting member attorney, Mark Rumold. I think he will be a big asset. So, I'll miss it too. It's been an honor and a pleasure, a privilege to have 5 votes of confidence in a row from SPJ. From the Society of Professional Journalists, and I think in spite of all the frustrations that we've encountered over the past decade plus, we've done some good things too, a lot of good things. From what I've seen and heard, I think most of the people in City Hall favor sunshine. I think most of the people in City Hall want to know what the sunshine laws are and want to comply with them. There are those few bad apples, and unfortunately, they're consistently causing people problems. But that's why we have a task force, to give voice to the citizens who have complaints against those agencies. The only other thing I can say is, as you go forward, listen to one another, be civil. We have a couple of people on the task force who are consistently, I guess you'd say, they cast dissenting votes on things. They perhaps favor respondents a little bit too much, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. If everybody is of one mind, you develop complacency, and that's the last thing you need. Those dissenting votes, they'll keep us all, they'll keep us all sharp and alert. And I think, in a sense, that's a good thing. Best of luck to all of you, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those words of wisdom. And I think Member Fisher has some words.
Yeah, I didn't know we were going down this path, but I'll say thank you for all of your mentoring, for lack of a better word. And I did hear your replacement speak several times, and he seems very bright and articulate, and I look forward to serving with him. But he's not you, and you will be missed.
And I wanted to plant a seed here, and maybe a way to that Richard Nee will show up now and again. And this is the Compliance and Amendments Committee. And in the past several years, it's been all compliance and no amendments. And that wasn't the case when I arrived on the task force and began serving on this committee. And at that time, Member Nee was chair of this committee. We spent many hours, many hearings, developing amendments to the ordinance and trying to clarify matters, trying to strengthen the ordinance. 2 years ago, we tried to get enough supervisors to support it. I think we had the numbers, that we just got a late start. Nobody wanted to head it up. But we actually have some that could be a good basis from which to go forward. I brought this up at the League of Women Voters annual meeting on Saturday and said I saw that this is a time in the next couple of years to move on this, The members present were very interested. The league has been supportive of the task force and also our battles with the Ethics Commission. They've been following that very closely. So I think there's some energy in the league, a bunch of enthusiastic new young members. I'm trying to find someone to mentor to take my place in a couple of years. But I think it's time to fix this ordinance, improve it, strengthen it. And this committee is a place to start doing that work. And we don't have to start from zero. We have some ideas, certainly. So, Member Nee.
Yeah, just a word of caution on that. 10 years ago, we took a package to the Board of Supervisors. The president of the board, I believe at the time it was Matt Gonzalez, referred the matter to one of the committees, and that committee, on which Mr. Gonzalez sat, proceeded to add 23 amendments of its own. Mm-hmm. And those amendments were unacceptable to the members of the task force. We had to mount a very fierce last-minute lobby to keep what had been our own package off the ballot. So, caution is the watchword here.
Well, I think that we won't go that route again. You've told me that story before, and I think this is something for the grassroots of the city, the activists and organizations like the League, like-minded organizations to spearhead. This is too important to have the supervisors, who don't understand this the way that the task force members do, and certainly the activists do. Let them muck it up.
Well, some supervisors do understand
That's
it perfectly.
True.
And they're the ones to watch.
Right.
The ordinance or the mucking up?
Both. Now, I'm as I said, I will remain active in Sunshine. I want to remain in the loop on the whatever efforts go forward to amend the ordinance. I've told the task force members before, if there's something you want to pick my brain about as you move forward, by all means, you know how to get hold of me. Victor knows how to get a hold of me, and I'm happy to hear from you.
Thank you so much. Anything else? Okay, seeing nothing else, the meeting is adjourned at 5 o'clock promptly.